Alright guys, so we're moving away from triangles now and we're moving into parallel lines that are cut by a transversal. Okay, so first of all I want to talk to you about parallel lines and then the transversal. So you should remember that parallel lines are lines that never intersect and they run right next to each other. So these green lines would be our parallel lines. This line that cuts across them is going to be known as our transversal. So the parallel lines are the two lines that run next to each other, and then the transversal is the line that cuts through it. Okay? Alright, so you should remember from the first video that vertical angles are those that are opposite or across from each other. Okay? And then we need to come up with the angles that are vertical angles in this diagram. Okay? So remember, they have to be opposite of one another. So up here, 1 and 4, angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical. That means angles 2 and 3 are vertical. And then down below, angles 5 and 8 are vertical. And then angles 6 and angle 7 are vertical. Okay, so there's 4 different sets of vertical angles in this diagram. All right, in the diagram above, two lines are parallel. Kind of already talked about that. So two lines are parallel, and they are being crossed, or I always say cut, by a transversal. So two lines are parallel, and they are always being crossed by a transversal. There are 4 different types of angles that are created when a transversal cuts through parallel lines. So that's what this video is going to be about, discussing those 4 different types of angles that are created with parallel lines cut by a transversal. The first one is corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are the same angles on both sets of parallel lines. So they're in the same position. They are the same angle measurement. So they're equal. So for example, angle 2 is in the same position as angle 6 down below. So angle 2 and angle 6 are corresponding angles. So guys, again, since there are 4 angles on one set of lines cut by transversal and 4 on the other, there's going to be 4 sets of corresponding angles. So we already went over one of them. Angle 2 and angle 6 sit in the same position. So that means angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding. They sit in the same position. Angle 4 and angle 8 are corresponding. And then that leaves angle 3 and angle 7. And you can see, guys, that they have the same measurement. They're the same size as one another. So that means that they're going to be equal. Okay? They're in the same position and they have the same angle measurements. All right. The next one is alternate interior angles. Okay? Guys, we discussed last week that interior angles mean the inside. So when talking about alternate interior, we are talking about 4 different angles, okay? So interior means they have to be inside of the parallel lines. So we can eliminate 1 and 2, 7 and 8 because they do not fall inside of the parallel lines. So they are not associated with alternate interior. And then alternate for us is going to be the opposite sides of the transversal. Okay, and they are also equal. So they're the same angle measurement. So if I have angle 3, the opposite side, so here's the transversal, so it has to be on the opposite side. Okay, so angle 6 would be an alternate interior with angle 3. That means angle 4 and angle 5 are alternate interior angles. Because they are inside the parallel lines on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are equal to one another. Alternate exterior, those are on opposite sides of the transversal, but they sit outside of the parallel lines. So since 3, 4, 5, and 6 are inside of the parallel lines, they cannot be associated with alternate exterior angles. So if I have angle 1, opposite side of the transversal, so here's the transversal, okay? They have to have the same angle measurement. So angle 1 and angle 8. These are also equal. So then angle 2 and angle 7 would also be alternate exterior angles together. All right, one last definition to go over. All right, so the last one is consecutive interior angles. Okay, so interior angles again, so we're going to be inside of the parallel lines. So that means 1 and 2 and 7 and 8 are automatically out. And consecutive means on the same side of the transversal. Okay, this is the only set of angles that do not equal each other. Okay, together they equal 180 degrees. Okay, so these are the only ones that don't have the same angle measurement. So inside a parallel line, so angle 3, and they have to be on the same side of the transversal. So angle 3 and angle 5 are consecutive interior. Consecutive means back to back, right next to. Okay. So then angle 6 and angle 4 are also consecutive interior angles. Because these are the only ones that aren't equal to each other. So if I told you that angle 4 was 130 degrees, that means angle 6 has to equal 180 with the 130. So that means that angle 6 would be 50 degrees. So these are the only two sets of angles that are not going to have the same angle measurement. But together they do equal that 180 degrees. All right, so those are the 4 types of angles that are created when you have parallel lines cut by a transversal? As always, you can go back and rewind or ask me any questions.